Welcome back to another Ret Paladin video. Verabin here. Today we are going to be going through an overview of all of the changes that Ret Paladins have going from Classic Vanilla over to Classic TBC. So there have actually been a lot of changes that would make Ret Paladin a lot more viable in both raiding and in dungeons as well. So we're going to take a look at all those changes, including talents and abilities and all that good stuff. So stick around, let's take a look. All right, let's jump right into it. So let's look at the new abilities that Ret Paladins are going to be receiving in TBC. So the first one, the biggest one, I think, is Avenging Wrath. Avenging Wrath, 3-minute cooldown, 30% increased damage for 20 seconds. It does, however, cause you to get Forbearance. So that's something to keep in mind. You won't be able to bubble for about 1 minute. We're also going to receive Crusader Aura, which is going to increase our mounted movement speed by 20%. Not just for you, but for also people in your party. So that has some kind of niche uses throughout the world, places like that. We're also going to be receiving Crusader Strike as our 40-point talent down at the bottom of the Ret tree. It's going to do 110% weapon damage. It's going to give you another button to press, which is going to feel really good rather than just sealing and judging. But the other cool thing is that it's going to refresh the other Paladin's judgment. So this is really good for Holy Paladins. You're going to be able to judge Wisdom or judge Light on the target, and then we'll be able to keep those judgments up without having to run back into the 10-yard range. The other new abilities that Paladins are receiving are Righteous Defense. This might have some niche uses for Ret Paladins, maybe in dungeons and places like that, if there's an ad that's going crazy, but otherwise, it's not necessarily going to be one that you're going to be using a whole lot. Another really big, important one is that we're going to be receiving Spiritual Attunement. Now, Spiritual Attunement, whenever we take damage, that's going to reduce our health a little bit, but when we get healed up, we're going to be able to get 10% of that healing that is done to us as mana back. So it's not going to work for your own healing to yourself. It only works when other people heal you, so keep that in mind. Another really big change that Blizzard has done here is that they are going to be adding Seal of Blood for both Alliance and Horde Paladins. Alliance actually don't get it until level 70. Horde get it at level 64. So that's going to be a really cool thing. That's going to give us more consistent damage. At the end of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about Seal Twisting and why Seal of Blood is extremely strong. But for now, we'll put a pin in that. Ret has also received several new talents and talent updates, so we're going to go through those really quickly. The first one is Crusades. This is a new talent that increases your damage by 3% against most enemy types, so that's going to be really good for us. Improved Sanctity Aura is a little bit of raid utility that Ret is going to receive. It's going to increase your damage by 2% as well as anybody in your party affected by your aura, so that's going to be interesting. Another new talent that we received is Fanaticism. This is going to increase our critical strike chance by 15% of our judgments, and then it's also going to reduce our threat by a little bit, so that's actually pretty cool. It means you don't need to use Blessing of Salvation on yourself to reduce your threat, like in a dungeon situation, so that's pretty interesting. We're also going to receive Sanctified Judgments. That's going to give us a lot of our mana back as we're casting judgments, so mana management is going to be really, really important, especially if you're interested in Seal Twisting, which we'll talk about later. We're also going to be receiving Sanctified Seals as well. This is another really big important raid utility that Ret is getting. That's going to increase spell and melee critical chance by 3% for everybody in the raid. So that's really, really important. A couple of our talents actually received updates.
Not vengeance, justice.
Let me stop you right there, Uther. Actually, Vengeance and Pursuit of Justice received small reworks going into TBC. Vengeance is now stacks a little bit slower, so you have to actually get 3 stacks of Vengeance at 5% each stack, but it lasts for 30 seconds, so there's almost no chance that this is going to fall off as long as you have a decent amount of crit. And Pursuit of Justice is buffed quite a bit. It can now give you up to 15% movement speed based on the normal talent tree that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. You're unlikely to take that to 3 ranks, but even at 2 ranks, it's going to give you 10% movement speed, which is going to be pretty good. It's also going to reduce the chance that you're hit by spells by just a little bit. All right, so we're going to look at talents really briefly here. For better or worse, the Ret Paladin talents in TBC are pretty straightforward, and there isn't a lot of wiggle room. You basically take all of the talents that increase your damage or give you mana back, and that's kind of it. We do go down into the protection tree to take Blessing of Kings, because there are certain classes in dungeons and raids that you're going to be in where you're not necessarily going to, they're not necessarily going to benefit from any of the other blessings, so it's good to have that. You also want to get down there and get precision anyway, so you're obviously going to take the Divine Strength from Holy, and then you're basically going to take everything else in the Ret tree that increases your damage, and that includes all of the new talents that we just talked about. So those talents are going to increase our damage a little bit. The other cool thing about these talents is that it's going to give us a little bit of scaling. So as we get into T5 and T6 especially, our damage is going to scale up quite a bit. And that's going to help us a lot when we start doing seal twisting and start having to do all of those great things. And as our weapons start to get stronger and all that good stuff. So having these percent modifiers in damage may not seem like a lot of damage, but even 2% here, 3% there, it's going to add up over time because it's going to give us some better scaling as we start to get higher gear, more secondary stats, more strength, all that good stuff. All right, so I'm going to do a quick rundown on seal twisting, and the main two things that you need to make seal twisting work is really good mana management, and that includes having a good raid comp and having consumables and things like that, like mana potions, dark runes, all that. And you need to make sure that you have a really, really slow weapon, because as you get more haste and as you use drums and stuff like that, your weapon speed is going to get pretty low, and you need to be able to fit in 2 GCDs at the beginning of your swing timer and then at the end. And so that means you need about 3 seconds. So if you had a 3-second speed weapon, for example, you can't twist with that weapon necessarily because you're not going to have enough GCD time to be able to do that. So you need 2 GCDs. The GCD is 1.5 seconds, so you need 3 seconds. So basically what's going to happen is, you can see it in the video behind me. I'm going to slow it down a little bit so you can see it happen, but you need that swing timer to show you when your swing is about to happen. And you're going to have one of your seals up, either blood or command. You can use rank 1 seal of command because you're not going to be judging seal of command. You're going to be judging seal of blood. So you're going to have your max rank seal of blood, and then you're going to, right before your auto attack happens, you're going to pop your rank 1 seal of command, and then your auto attacks will hopefully proc both of them. The really cool thing about this is that seal of command can proc off of your seal of blood proc. So you're going to see sometimes that'll happen where there's tons of yellow damage happening, and that's probably what's going on. So it's a really, really cool thing, and I'm really looking forward to that. That is all for the video, guys. If you made it this far, I appreciate your support. Please be sure to hodge that like button and subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Yeah.